Good afternoon, grade 12s, and welcome to our mathematics broadcast this afternoon. My name is Eleanor Splinter, and today we have a geometry session. Now, I thought before I fall away with all the examples I want to do with you this afternoon, I want to take 1 or just 2 minutes to tell you my short story of how I started with geometry and what actually happened to me. So I was in grade 11 and I was always good at mathematics. And here we write our first geometry test. And I get my marks back, grade 11, and I get 9 out of 50. Yes, you didn't hear wrong, grade 12s. I actually scored 9 out of 50. Now you're going to think, how can a teacher teach me geometry this afternoon who got 9 out of 50 for a geometry test? Grade 12s, I immediately realized that I did something wrong. What did I do wrong? Do you know what? I didn't know my theorems. I thought that I could just go and write my geometry exam and I can approach it like I approach an algebra exam or a trigonometry exam, but it was different. I had to do something different. So this is what I did. I took off all my Michael Jackson posters from my room wall. I shared it with my Oma. So I just had half a room. Took off David Hasselhoff posters and I replaced it with all my grade 11 and 12 theorems. So this was now grade 11, so I put on my grade 11 theorems, grade 12. Later in the next year, I put my grade 12 theorems on as well. So every day when I got home, I saw these theorems. And I would go to every A4 sheet and I would say, center angle equal 2 times circumference angle. The opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral is supplementary. And every day I would say it. And then my next test came. So these theorems became part of me. And my next test came and I wrote my test. Very confidently. Next day, a knock on the door of the accounting class that I was in. It was my maths teacher looking for me. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, Eleanor, what did you do? And he called me and he said, Eleanor, I just want to tell you that you scored 49 out of 50 for this test. I was in my element. I asked, but Mr. Kamali, what did I do wrong? And no, it was just a small reason I got wrong. And from then onwards, geometry became my friend. Grade 12s, I know that you battle with geometry. And maybe it is time that you post your theorems on your walls or on the fridge or wherever it is visible to you. You look at it every day. You say it every day and it becomes part of you. And when you see a sum, you know which theorems to apply. And this is the approach that we're going to take this afternoon. I'm not going to put all the theorems up at the same time. No, when we look at a sum, we are going to see which theorems are involved. So that is my geometry story. And never again did I get 9 out of 50 grade 12. So don't worry. I will teach you the proper geometry this afternoon. So I hope you're going to enjoy the session. I have a few sums that I want to work through. Welcome to all the schools that are logged in. Somebody says, good afternoon, ma'am. And I'm so happy there from Mandle Kosi Secondary. Welcome. I hope that you're going to enjoy it. And I hope my little story helped you. Paste those theorems on your walls and say it, repeat it every day, and it becomes part of you. So without any further stories, let's go to our first sum, grade 12. So in your telematics book, you have this. I tried to make the sketch as big as possible, and I'm going to read this to you because you have the sketches in front of you. So it says, in the diagram below, O is the center. Do you know what, grade 12s? I stop immediately because that bit of information tells me so much. Do you know what it tells me? That from the center to the circumference is a radius. Do you agree with me? So I see 3 radii in this sketch. Can you locate them for me? So OB is a radius. OD is a radius because it also goes from the center to the circumference, and OC is a radius. Now, what do we know about radii in the circle? So I can have a lot of radii in one circle. They are all equal to each other. So that is what I know so far just from saying that O is the center. It tells me that chord AB is perpendicular. So perpendicular means there's an angle of 90 degrees. So chord AB is perpendicular. Can you see what happens here? To diameter DC, I see something immediately. Come, I draw this for you. I said we're going to look at the relevant theorems according to each sum. Do you know what this theorem says, grade 12s? It says that if you draw a line from the center of a circle and that line is perpendicular to a chord, it bisects the chord. This was on my wall. This theorem was on my wall. I would say line from center, perpendicular to chord, bisect the chord. So I am definitely going to use this here. So grade 12, this line here comes from the center of my circle. Oh my goodness, it is perpendicular to this chord. What can you tell me? You can immediately tell me that AM is equal to MB. Put it on your sketch. Now, grade 12s, what do you see me do? I read my information first. I don't just go into the questions and then I get all scared. The information that is given to me is my key in getting the answers.